So if you tuned into my channel last week, you saw that I did a top 5 fragrances of the year 2023 so far, designer edition. And Le Mans Elixir ended up heading that out. If you want to go check that out, it was posted about 3 or 4 days ago. And I also told you I'm going to be doing my least favorite 5 from 2023. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, along with 2 runner-ups. But with that said, we're doing the worst 5 fragrances of 2023 up to date in July. So without further ado, let's get it. What's going on, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka FragranceDoud. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure to slap the subscribe button. Everybody else, like, comment, hit the bell, all that good stuff, so that we can get straight into this video. Again, talking about the worst 5 fragrances so far of 2023, a designer edition. So every 3 to 4 months, I do the top 5 fragrances of the year, updated, designer edition, where I give you all of the best designers. And the reason I do the top every 3 months is because of the fact that there's a lot of fragrances released. The first time I did this back in March, there was 15 or 16. Now we're at about 26 plus. And so there's a lot of fragrances released. And with that said, for designers, they're usually mass appealing. So they're either going to be average or above average for the most part. There's a few that fall through the cracks and they are bad. But that's why I wait to do the worst 5 every 6 months, because of the fact that not that many fall through the cracks because they're supposed to be mass appealing. And if they're not, then the company kind of failed. With that said, today we're going to be doing the worst 5. If you want to check out the best 5, I did that about 2 or 3 days ago. I'll obviously link that up there. So we're going to also be doing 2 runner-ups today of the worst ones that came out. The 2 runners-up are not necessarily bad. In my opinion, they're just not wearable for me. One is more about the longevity, and one is more about the fact that I just don't like that style of fragrance. With that said, the first one that is a runner-up going into the worst 5 would be Bvlgari's Man Rain Essence. It smells good. It's more of like a watery orange tea. It kind of smells like a more modernized Silver Mountain water, but more musky and more generic. And it only lasts like an hour on my skin. And that fragrance doesn't smell bad at all, but if there's so many other fragrances that are in that style of fragrance that I'm just not going to pick that up. Most of these are going to be ones that I picked up and I either returned, I sold on my channel. I had a decant or a sample card sent to me and I did a video for it. And this is one of them. It is Bvlgari Man Rain. I think the only one that I have is the one bottle right here. Yeah. Bvlgari Man Rain Essence is, again, it's just an orange musky tea. It has this watery vibe to it, but it's like a rainy day fragrance. But I can find so many fragrances that do what that does at the same level, but for a lot cheaper. So for me, I wouldn't recommend picking that up. It's not going to make the worst 5, and it's not a bad smelling scent. It's just, it's on that border where that longevity is so crappy that you're not going to pay the Bvlgari price to get it. And if you do, I mean, more power to you. It's just, I'm not going to. The second one, this one's going to be more of a shocker, but this is more about my personal taste. Mont Blanc Explorer Platinum. Again, does not smell bad. If it gets to $40 or $30, I might pick it up. I don't know. I just wouldn't wear it. If I pick it up, it's going to be for collection purposes. It smells like, kind of like Fahrenheit with this violet mixture in it. Has a little bit of a spice to it as well. But that, I just never really liked that style. Like, I have Mercedes-Benz Eau de Toilette, which this really reminds me of for the first 20 to 30 minutes. I don't wear it because that violet is just, it's not my style of fragrance. I don't like, the only Fahrenheit that I really like is Fahrenheit Parfum, which at first I thought that Mont Blanc Explorer Platinum gave me vibes of. But Fahrenheit Parfum, it has a lot more going on with it. That's the only kind of violet scent that I can really do with that kind of almost petroleum style violet. As the one Mont Blanc Explorer dries down, though, it gets closer to this almost aromatic, sweet, clary sage, lavender mixture that reminds you almost of the original Ralph's Club Eau de Parfum. which at that point in time, I like it and it's wearable for me, but you have to get past the first 30 or 40 minutes that I am not a fan of. So with that said, it's a good fragrance and a lot of people are going to think that it's really good. But for me, it's not. It's going to be a runner-up and it's not going to be one of my favorites of the year. I've already got 4 sample cards with like the 2 milliliter decants in them, and I've tried them and I can't wear it. It's not my style of frag. With that said, it's not my worst 5. It's just a runner-up on the edge. Just wanted to let you know there are some really mass appealing fragrances that some people might put in their top 5 that I'm just not going to because it's not my style. Anyway, going into the top 5, or the worst 5 of the year, I guess you should say. This one, I got a decant from News Parfums that I actually just sent to Jeff from SoCal Scents. So I believe he's going to review that now. But with that said, this fragrance, again, it doesn't smell bad. It's just if you're going to pay the $90 to $100 for the fragrance, you should wait months and months and months until it gets on discounters. But even then, there's fragrances that do what this does better at that price of the discounter price. This is Kenzo Homme Marine. Kenzo Homme Marine. I've tried the original Kenzo Homme, the EDT. It's okay. Kenzo Homme Intense gets better. The Eau de Parfum, though, is the best. That one is like your leathery aquatic. Very unique, that's really, really good. This one, it kind of just smells that like this lang lang in the opening. A little bit of a citrusy tone. But then it's really just like a cool ocean breeze. That's legit what it smells like, is just salty sea breeze, and that's about it. There's not much else going on to the fragrance. It's very light. It doesn't really push out on your skin. It's going to last on your skin for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And again, it's just like a salty sea breeze. Where I live, I don't live in the climate to wear a salty sea breeze fragrance. That's all it does. If the Lang Lang was a little bit more prominent, then I might be with it. It has some sandalwood and musk in the dry down, but for the most part, the Kenzo Homme Marine is pretty just basic fragrance. I was expecting more after I just got the Eau de Parfum, but I can tell you it just doesn't do much for me, and it won't. It will continue to just be a basic fragrance. And if you can tell, there's going to be, up until the top 3, there was a hard choice to make for any of these really bad ones because there wasn't many bad ones. There was only 3 that I can say were bad this year, and that one really wasn't the bad one. It's just this year was full of mediocrity. There was no really great fragrances that beat out last year's fragrances or the best fragrances, but last year there was a lot more good and great than there was bad, but there was a decent amount of bad. This year, it's mostly just jam-packed right in the middle with a few all the way down on the good end and a few all the way down on the bad end. It's just all right in the middle. Anyway, going into number 4. So number 4 is the one that I have the bottle of still. I had to complete the line, but if you guys are looking to buy it, you can buy it from me. I still have it, and I'll probably sell it. This is and it was probably the biggest letdown of the year for me, which I am going to do a separate video, the biggest letdowns of the year, but I'm going to do that in December. This one is by Azzaro. It is Wanted Eau de Parfum. So, again, this is the one that's going to end the line of the ones that don't smell bad, but it's a huge letdown for me, which is why it's in the worst of the year. You needed to follow up Most Wanted Parfum, which was one of my favorite, if not my favorite, release of 2022. Most Wanted, which is one of my, if not my favorite designer fragrance of all time, that was 2021. And then we had Wanted by Night, which was their release before that, which then they come and they follow it up with this. This kind of smells it's a basic version of Prada Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum if they didn't know what the hell they were doing with the vanilla. So it starts off with this almost creamy and fruity juniper that actually seems like it's doing something nice. It has this almost slightly woody aromatic sweetness, kind of like what you get from Ralph's Club. It seems like it's going to be doing something like that. As you get about 20 minutes into the dry down, this weird vanilla comes in, and it kind of goes in this wave. I don't know if it's tonka or vanilla. It's this weird powdery sweetness. It comes in waves, and it's almost like it doesn't know what it's trying to do. Azzaro Wanted Eau de Parfum, it seems like it's going to be doing something good, but like even Ralph's Club, that's more of an average, middling fragrance that smells really good, but it's not going to be like a total gem, kind of like the other ones in this line. With that said, this one, it never figures out what it's doing, and it gets to the point where it's actually kind of weird. Because the fragrance just doesn't know where it's going, and it keeps changing, going in these waves from this like real heavy vanillic tone to this little bit of powder to an aromatic woody fragrance back to this sweetness. It's a very confusing fragrance, and I wouldn't recommend this to a single person that came out this year. I don't think I've heard somebody say that this was actually good. Or should I say great, or one of their favorites. It's not going to be, because they messed up with it. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they messed up with it. The opening 10 minutes is good. After that, it's just, they don't know what it's doing. It's never gets past basic. And I'm really disappointed with that. It's kind of like at the level of tonic, where it's almost like toilet water for me. I'm not going to wear it. It's better than tonic, but it's middling, which is the best word to use for it. Going into the third one, this one it's the only cheapie on this list. There wasn't very many cheapies this year. The only 3 cheapies that I can pick and choose right now are the best one of the year, which is Hugo Iced, or Hugo Jeans. Hugo Jeans is a really good one. It has lime in it. That's really good. I really like that a lot. Then there was CK1 Reflections. That one was really good, but doesn't last long, but it does smell really nice. It's like, has some tea in it, but it's like an iced lemonade. Really good. And then there was this one. This one was not really a big letdown, because honestly, even though a lot of people hype up the rest of the line, I honestly could care less about Cool Water. But this is Cool Water Oceanic Edition. I did a review on it. I bought it from Marshall's. I returned it to Marshall's the day after I reviewed it, because it smells like kind of like a mixture between Cool Water, a 90s hair salon, and a little bit of BO. And like Chrome Parfum, which it's so weird. So you know when you spray it on, it's a little bit of Cool Water. You could say, hey, yeah, that's a Cool Water. I can smell that. Then it has this herbaceous tone that you get from Cool Water Parfum. It's almost like a designer version of Amouage Beach Hut, but it's a lot more synthetic. It's like synthetic green tones mixed with Cool Water, which is that aquatic sea marine style fragrance. So mix those two together, then add in this 90s hair salon, like a bunch of hairspray. Imagine that. Mix all together, super synthetic, green, and aquatic. And then on top of that, put this weird ass BO smell. That's what you get from Oceanic Edition. And I didn't get the BO smell the first time I smelled it. At the very end, if you go and watch my Oceanic video, at the very end of it, I smelled the atomizer and I was like, what the hell? And it smelled like BO. At the very end of that video, I just said, what the hell is that? Well, then the next time I sprayed it on, my wife said it smells like BO. And then I smelled it and I said the same thing. So Cool Water Oceanic Edition is where we start the ones that aren't good. And that is, I mean, it's a cheapie. So I heard one person say that they really like it. Outside of that, I haven't heard anybody say that they like that fragrance. I never really liked Cool Waters that much. The original Cool Water is good. Do I wear it? No. Grapefruit and Sage is okay. Do I wear it? No. Cool Water Parfum, never tried. Cool Water Intense, good. Never wear it. Honestly, it's Cool Water. They're good. I have a lot of better shit. Going into number 2. So this one I have to put at number 2, even though I think it should be at number 1. Which you're going to find that the top 2 fragrances on my list are absinthe-based fragrances. I guess I don't like absinthe. I've tried another fragrance with absinthe. I liked it. It was also in Bad Boy Cobalt, maybe? I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, the one I bought a bottle of and gave it away on my channel And the other one I tried about 6 times in Macy's and then had a sample card. Never liked it, and I never will like it. So number 2, I have to put it here because I never owned a bottle. Eternity Reflections, not CK1 Reflections. Eternity Reflections. Eternity Reflections, picture this. A very, very, very syrupy and sweet, or very, very, very syrupy and synthetic version of Cedrat Boisé, the moss from that. Imagine that mixed together with a very synthetic dark chocolate note, and then put that together with this very weird green fougere-ish boozy absinthe. It's kind of what you get from the fragrance. It doesn't know what it's doing. I have, even the person at Macy's, whenever I went there and I sprayed it on, she's like, yeah, I've tried this one like 4 or 5 times to see if maybe it was just the atomizer, but it sucks. I said, yeah, it does suck. It really is bad. It is I mean, where do you think that a green boozy drink is going to mix together well with dark chocolate, and it's going to mix together well with a very synthetic moss that you get from Cedrat Boisé? Again, Cedrat Boisé isn't a synthetic moss. I'm saying it's a synthetic version of that style of almost like a sweet version of moss. I never liked an eternity. The only eternity that there's 2 eternities in history that I have came close to liking. The Eau de Parfum and Summer Days from last year. Summer Days, I like that watermelon calypso note, but then it got kind of syrupy and synthetic for me. So now I don't like that anymore. And the Eau de Parfum is still okay. Outside of that, I've never liked an eternity, but I can say this doesn't smell like any eternity I've smelled before, but it's still pretty shitty. So try before you buy. If you're an eternity fan, you're probably not going to like this. If you're not an eternity fan, you want to try something new, you're probably not going to like this. So this is number 2 of the year, which number 1 is a personal shithouse for me. I had to put it at number 1 because I've talked so much shit on it all year this year. The worst release and the biggest letdown as far as the brand is Polo Red Parfum. You guys probably knew where that I was going with that. But Polo Red Parfum is an absinthe-based fragrance that starts out really, really great. I mean, it's actually a really good fragrance. In the first 15 minutes, it is blood orange. It's sweetness. It almost has a little bit of a cranberry note in there. It smells like. It doesn't really smell like Polo Red. The opening, if anything, smelled the most like Polo Red because it's that blood orange, pink pepper, a little bit of freshness from the bergamot. So that is where you kind of get that Polo Red Eau de Parfum mixture. Really good. I actually quite enjoy it. Once you get about 20 to 30 minutes into the fragrance, the absinthe comes in, and it feels like, what the hell just happened to this fragrance? It gets green and fougere-ish, just like I just told you what happens with Eternity. It's kind of the same thing. Absinthe comes in, and it brings, but this one, the absinthe in this, it makes my tongue hurt. When I smell it, it makes my nose hurt, my tongue hurt. It has this powdery, syrupy, green, fougere-ish. It's almost like it should be in the Polo Green line, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to see it anywhere. I hate it. I hate this fragrance with a passion. I usually don't hate any fragrances like to the point where that's horrible. The last time I can remember doing that was Yop Homme, and this I would put right steadily in that grouping with Yop Homme and Azzaro Decibel, fragrances that I really dislike. Polo Red Parfum, I love the opening. I go into the dry down and I'm like, nope. But if you want to get a version of Polo Red Parfum that smells like the opening and continues through the dry down, Carolina Herrera's 212 VIP Black I Love New York smells like the opening to Polo Red Parfum if you just continued it into the dry down and added a bit of coffee. It's good. It's not as great as the opening of Polo Red Parfum, but it's a very good representation of that. But anyway, that is my worst 5. So again, we had Kenzo Homme Marine. We had number 4 is Azzaro Eau de Parfum. 3, Cold Water Oceanic Edition. 2, Eternity Reflections. And 1, Polo Red Parfum. Get out there and try. I know there was a few people that like Polo Red Parfum. For the most part, everybody agrees with me that that dry down is just not right. It's not a Polo red in the dry down. If anything, it's a green fragrance. It's not good. Try all those fragrances. If you're still interested, try before you buy. Make sure that you wear through the dry down on all of them. Again, the first two weren't necessarily bad. Bvlgari Man Renaissance, Explorer Platinum, they're both really smell good fragrances. And then we get into the top 5 list. Azzaro EDP, some people might like it, but it's still going to be basic. And Kenzo Eau Marine, just a basic ocean. If you live in like LA or Florida or something, probably would be a decent pickup if it becomes on discounters for sure. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Let me know what your least favorite fragrances of the year, and again, I'll be back with another one. Also, pay attention. I have a video coming up in the next coming days comparing all of the fragrances in 2023 so far versus 2022 and 2021 to see which year was the best. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Peace out.